All right, guys, so we got to talk about the divider-in-chief, the leader of the non-unity-crats, Joe Biden, who gave a shocking speech. A speech that, again, really is shocking in the political world. Last night in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that the White House claimed was going to be non-political. However, this speech turned out to be nothing but politics, divisive politics, as Joe Biden decided it was a good idea to attack what probably is maybe half the country by going after his political enemies, okay? Going after MAGA Republicans, Trump voters, okay? Trying to smear us as basically enemies of the United States of America. That is basically what the guy is saying. And this is what he's been saying for the last few weeks or so. And he doubled and tripled down on it during this speech. A speech that ironically has a backdrop that looks like, I don't know, a backdrop that Hitler would give a speech to, okay? Or somebody that's actually really a dictator or a fascist would give a speech to, okay? Like, it's eerie red with, military and Marines behind it. Yeah, this guy actually looked like a dictator and sounded like a dictator doing this speech. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play some clips from this speech that really is getting a lot of attention in the media. Because this guy is saying things about almost half the country that we should be very concerned about. Take a look.
We must be honest with each other and with ourselves. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. Now, I want to be very clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election. And they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies, empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love. They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country. They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th, brutally attacking law enforcement, not as insurrectionists who placed a dagger at the throat of our democracy, but they look at them as patriots. And they see their MAGA failure to stop a peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 election as preparation for the 2022 and 2024 elections. They tried everything last time to nullify the votes of 81 million people. This time, they're determined to succeed in thwarting the will of the people. That's why respected conservatives like Federal Circuit Court Judge Michael Ludwig has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to our democracy. But while the threat to American democracy is real, I want to say as clearly as we can, we are not powerless in the face of these threats. We are not bystanders in this ongoing attack on democracy.
Wow. I've never heard a speech from the President of the United States that attacks people in this country. Like, he's attacking his own people, labeling people who voted for Trump, okay, who support Trump labeling them as threats to this country, okay? With the military in the background, right? You got the military in the background. You got this red, eerie, kind of evil-looking setting. And you have the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, the president of the United States, calling people who did not vote for him threats, right? I mean, guys, I've never seen anything like it. Again, this is a guy that claimed that he was going to be a unifier. He was going to bring America together. No wonder people started yelling F Joe Biden in the middle of this speech.
After the 2020 election, as preparation for the 2022 and 2024 elections, they tried everything last time to nullify the votes of 81 million people. This time,
and ever since the first day this man stepped into office, he has done nothing but divide. However, some people in the mainstream liberal media don't think that Biden went far enough in his attacks against basically half the country.
He did use the term white supremacist once towards the end and did mention which I...
Yeah, I don't know who it's not all Republicans, just MAGA Republicans are for. Like, I'm sure that there are some white supremacists who will vote with white supremacists who don't think they're white supremacists. We're happy that Biden didn't call them a white supremacist, but like, it's not for me. What was for me, and you mentioned this already, but this is, I think, a really great bit, where he says to the heckler, that dude, that man, that person from the other side is entitled to be outrageous.
Totally.
And that, to me, that is the difference between Biden and Trump.
Totally.
That is the difference between me and Jenny Thomas.
Right.
That is the difference between Democrats and Republicans, because Republicans right now would have that heckler be beaten.
Right.
They would say that heckler.
I don't know all Republicans, but Donald Trump
would certainly
has a record for saying.
Right? And Lindsey Graham would be like, okay, boss. Like, that's how they are at this point, right?
Yeah, so and you have other people like Don Lemon, who is in complete denial of the fact that Joe Biden is trying to label half the country as fascist.
Ran his campaign on, I'm going to unify the country. His message to the nation was, we're all in this together. I'm going to unify the country. And now he's out saying two things. One, lots of y'all are fascists. And by the way, if you vote Republican, there's a decent chance that our democracy is no longer going to exist. These are not unifying messages.
But he
by
can't
any
turn a
stretch.
blind eye to that. I think you and I both agree he's doing it from a place of weakness.
Can the unifying message be that some of what he's saying is true? Because there are a lot of people, I got to tell you, Scott, a lot of folks who go, where's the lie? I don't see no lies detected.
I think there are 70, 80 million Americans who would say, just because I choose to vote Republican doesn't make me a fascist, and it doesn't make me want our democracy.
Scott, I got to be honest with you. He did not call all Republicans fascists. And 80 million Americans, he said MAGA Republicans, extreme. And he made it into distinction. And he also pointed out Republicans who were not part of what you're saying. Look, I know it's a good campaign.
Listen, why is it up to Joe Biden to divide up the Republicans? When Republicans go to the voting,
he's running.
But listen.
Okay, Scott, listen. No, listen. The former president every single day talks shit about everybody, including other presidents, including members of his own party, probably you on CNN, and now everybody is all of a sudden they've got the vapors about one statement that Joe Biden made in the entire year and a half of his presidency.
They're not the ones.
It's just, I mean, spare me the.
But Republicans aren't the ones who had Joe Biden out every day saying, I'm going to unify the country. We're all in this together. We're not enemies.
But so unifying the country is also telling the truth, Scott. He's telling the truth about what is happening in the country. In the most part, I'm not saying that everybody's a fascist.
If you go to the average...
hang on. I'm not even saying, I don't think it was the best thing for him to use that language. But you have to call a thing a thing. You have to call it what it is. You can't, that is unifying by bringing people around to the reality of what is.
If you go to the average Republican who, I don't know what they consider themselves, whether they're MAGA, regular Republican, whatever, but if you go to the average Republican who went into the voting booth in November 2020 and said, well, I'm going to vote Republican this election, or they're planning to do that in this election, and you tell them, Joe Biden may think that you're a fascist or semi-fascist, whatever that means. He may, we're not sure, but he might think that. And he's also arguing that if you choose to vote Republican, then you're essentially trying to end American democracy. A, it's not unifying. B, it's not within the character of what he said he was going to be. And C, that's not how any average Republican would view themselves.
And most of all, it's just not true, right? It's not true that if you vote Republican, you're trying to end democracy. That doesn't make any sense There's no factual evidence to back up that claim whatsoever, okay? But what is happening here, guys, is that the Democrats, Joe Biden, they're trying to pull the okie doke, okay? Because while they're talking about how big of a threat half the country is to the country and democracy, they're funding so-called MAGA Republicans, right? They're funding them, actively funding their campaigns. They were doing that during the primaries. If these people are such a big threat, why are you financially bankrolling them, right? But see, what it is that this is politics, guys. It's, we're going to fund the people that we claim are threats to democracy, and then we're going to turn around after we fund them to win their primaries. We're going to turn around, since now that we have to face them in the general election, we're going to call them, fascists, right? We're going to say they threats, okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to attack them even more. That's what's happening here, right? The same people that, again, the Democrats are attacking as semi-fascists, right? You have some people in the media comparing Trump voters to Nazis, right? I mean, on MSNBC, they're not making any qualms about it. They're saying that you guys are Nazis. We're Nazis, right? Democrat Party was bankrolling them. And then Donald Lemon want to sit here and talk about, well, Trump talks shit about people all the time. And I'm like, dude, when does Trump come out here and attack the American people? Right? Where does Trump gave a speech in which he attacked a certain group of people in this country because of who they voted for? Right? Trump has definitely said a lot of things, but I don't think that Trump has said things along the lines of labeling people who voted for somebody of the opposite political party fascist, right? I don't think so. It's one thing that to say the Democrat Party is the party of socialism, or they're socialists, which, you do have Democrats that are flat out saying that they're socialists, right? I don't think you have any Republicans that are flat out saying that they're fascists, though, right? Or saying that they're Nazis. So I'm just saying, I don't think Trump has done the equivalent of what Biden has done. So to even bring Trump into the conversation and say, well, it's okay because Trump said it, that to me is ridiculous, because Trump never said anything like that, right? Again, these people are in denial. They're in denial. They really believe that MAGA Republicans, people that disagree with them politically, are fascists and Nazis. But yeah, they want to turn around and talk about hate and division, when most of the hate and division in this country is coming from them. It's coming from the left side of the political aisle. Let's be honest about that. These people riot and protest in the street for almost a year straight. They call for the Supreme Court to be demolished. Okay? They're currently trying to attack our institutions, right? But yet they want to talk about hate and division, when the only thing you ever hear from these people every single day is hate and division. The President of the United States is a divider. He's been a divider in chief since day one, right? Day one. So, look, man, if this is the route Joe Biden wants to go, fine. But I personally am very concerned about the fact that, again, this guy keeps labeling people that didn't vote for him threats, and then also at the same time trying to take away our Second Amendment rights, okay? And saying that, hey, you guys don't need guns anyways because you can't beat the military. You don't have nukes, right? As if, this guy would nuke the American people, right? Because they have a difference of political opinion. I don't want to come to those type of conclusions, but the more these people keep talking, what else am I supposed to believe at this point, right? What else am I supposed to believe? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.